In our digital world, the attacks are constant. They're relentless. And you know what? Most of the time, they're completely invisible. There are no marching armies, no siege engines at the gate. So how in the world do you defend against an enemy you can't even see? That's the challenge we're going to break down right now.
And that's really the big question, isn't it? It's not about just throwing up a wall and hoping for the best. Nope. It's about constructing a modern, intelligent fortress. And that, my friends, always starts with a blueprint. And that blueprint is what we call security architecture. Think of it as the master plan that lays out every single wall, every guard post, and all the secret passages of your digital defense. You have to have this plan before you lay a single brick, just to make sure that what you're building is actually strong, smart, and, fit for purpose. But here's where it gets tricky. A fortress isn't just for keeping the bad guys out, it's also got to be a place where people can live and work inside. So a great security architecture creates a system that is incredibly secure, for sure, but also one that's functional and efficient for the people who actually need to use it every single day. It is a really delicate balancing act. Okay, so every great fortress is built on a solid foundation. And in security architecture, that foundation is made of a few core, time-tested principles. We're going to dive into two of the most important ones right now. First up is this really powerful concept called defense in depth. Just picture a medieval castle for a second. You don't just have one big wall, right? Of course not. You've got a moat, you've got an outer wall, an inner wall, and guards posted at every gate. We do the exact same thing digitally with layers of defense. So if an attacker somehow gets past our outer wall, that's our network firewall, they still have to face the inner guards of application security. And even if they get past that, the data itself is locked away, encrypted in a vault. Every single layer is designed to slow down and hopefully stop an attack in its tracks. All right, another foundational idea is the principle of least privilege. Now, this one sounds simple, but it is incredibly effective. Think about it. You would never give a castle guard a master key that opens every single door in the kingdom, right? You'd only give them the keys they need to do their job. It's the same thing in IT. We give users and systems the absolute bare minimum level of access they need to function. This one simple thing drastically limits the damage an attacker can do if they ever manage to compromise an account. So, we've got our foundational principles down, but a fortress designed in a vacuum is, it's pretty useless. We need to understand the enemy. We have to know how they think, what tools they're using, and where they're most likely to strike. In other words, we need to scout them out. And this whole scouting process has a name. It's called threat modeling. It's how we get ahead of the game and anticipate an attacker's moves before we even build the system. By mapping out how data moves around and figuring out where our weak spots might be, we can design our defenses against specific attacks from day one. Now, to make sure we're covering all our bases, architects use a really handy checklist called STRIDE. It's a mnemonic, and it forces us to think through all the different ways someone might attack. Are they trying to spoof an identity, tamper with our data? Are they trying to deny our service to legitimate users? Using a framework like STRIDE makes sure we don't miss any of the potential angles of attack. Okay, so you run through a framework like STRIDE, and now you have this really long list of potential threats, which is good, but you can't fix everything at once. So the question becomes, how do you decide what's most important? How do you prioritize?
And that's where another framework, DREAD, comes in. It's basically a scoring system to help you quantify and rank your risks. You rate each threat on things like its potential damage, how easy it is to reproduce or exploit, how many users are affected, and how easy it is to discover. So let's take a super common threat like an SQL injection. We score it, we average it out, and we get a 3.8. That number instantly tells us this is a high-risk threat that needs our attention, like yesterday.
And if we want to take our threat modeling to the absolute next level, we can turn to the MITRE ATT&CK framework. Now, this is amazing. Unlike just theoretical models, this is a massive knowledge base built from watching actual real-world attacks. It documents the tactics and techniques that adversaries are using right now, from how they get that initial access using phishing to how they achieve persistence in a system by creating a scheduled task. It's literally like having the enemy's complete playbook. Okay, let's pull all this together and see how it fits into a truly modern design philosophy. Because the old way of building a fortress, that hard outer shell with a soft, gooey, trusted center, that idea is dead. Today, we have to build differently. This slide really shows the huge shift in thinking. The old castle and moat model was pretty simple. If you were inside the walls, you were trusted. Period. But the modern zero trust model just throws that idea out the window. Its mantra is never trust, always verify. It assumes that threats could be anywhere, even inside your own walls. That means security is no longer about where you are, it's all about who you are.
And listen, this isn't some one-time check at the main gate. Zero trust is a continuous, ongoing process of verification. It means every single time you try to open a door, the system revalidates your identity, it checks the health of your device, and it confirms you have the right permissions for that specific resource at that exact moment. It's just a much, much smarter way to do security.
And one last thing. No fortress is ever going to be truly impenetrable. Let's be real. Attacks happen. That's why a critical part of any security architecture is resilience. It's the what-if plan. It's what you do when the worst happens, how you back up your data, how you fail over to other systems, and how you get the business up and running again as fast as humanly possible. When you put it all together, you can see that security architecture isn't about being the Department of No. It's about finding a systematic, intelligent way to protect what's important while still letting the business do its thing, to innovate and grow. It's really about enabling, not disabling. And that pretty much brings us to the end. But here's the thing with security. There is no end. The work is never done, because the threats are always changing, always evolving. A fortress is never truly finished. It's constantly being tested, reinforced, and adapted. So the real question I want to leave you with is this: what's the next threat on your horizon?